All right, welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go to the Patreon link. You could ask the questions of the guests, all kinds of cool stuff. We've reached 10,000 subscribers, over a million views, well over a million views. Today, we've got something really special. I know you see a lot of music guests on the show. And last week, we had Steve Summers from the band Pretty Boy Floyd. And Pretty Boy Floyd just happened to have a song in a movie called The Karate Kid 3. That was 33 years ago. It's insane. It doesn't feel like that long. But maybe the cast members, maybe it feels long to them. We have two of them here. William Christopher Ford, who has been on the show before. He's back, and this time he's got a friend with him, the bad boy of karate himself, Mike Barnes, you may know him as, Sean Kanan, who has a brand new book called Way of the Cobra. These guys have a really special event coming up in Los Angeles on May 22nd. They're here to talk about it. You guys are going to get to talk to them. And we'll talk some Karate Kid 3 and some literature, everything else right after this. All right, I'm excited to have the guys here. Let's welcome Sean Kanan.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
And William Christopher Ford.
All right.
All right, guys. Now, I could do Karate Kid interviews every day of the week because I don't have to do any research. This all came about, well, like for me, like many people, I was a kid and was bullied, and a lot of us have a similar story. Karate Kid meant so much to me and growing up. And John Avildsen was always a hero of mine. He directed Rocky. He directed the Karate Kid movies. And so that movie was so important to me. I began working with a guy named Joe Esposito, who sang the song "You're the Best Around," one of the best motivational songs ever. We did a convention together, and where I met you gentlemen, and it's been great. And it's been fun to mix up my show and have on people. Obviously, Cobra Kai mania has taken over, and people are so excited about this amazing franchise that you guys were a part of and possibly will be a part of once again. Now, I want to say that, William, you have a dojo here in Los Angeles.
I'm here.
You're in it right now, the Kaizen Dojo.
Yes.
And on May 22nd at 1 p.m., there's going to be a special event. And what it is Sean is going to speak first. He's going to give a speech about a motivational talk based on his book, Way of the Cobra. William is going to moderate a Q&A. There's a book right there. That's good promotion. William is going to moderate a Q&A. You guys are going to get a signed copy of the book. You guys are going to get a signed photo from the movie by both of them from Karate Kid 3. We're going to look at this right now so you guys can see. There's a link in the description. If you buy in advance, you get a good deal. There's an Eventbrite link to get your tickets. It's a very limited thing, so it's an intimate thing. So today I get to have the Karate Kid 3 reunion. But if you guys attend this great event, you guys get to spend some time with the guys. Hear some amazing stories. Ask the questions that you want to ask and much more. So I wanted to make sure we start with that. We'll revisit this as well. But to get started, I know a lot of people want to know. Now, William, you've been on the show and people have heard your stories. But so we'll start with you, Sean. Tell me how Karate Kid 3, because you have a career as an actor, but tell me how Karate Kid 3 came about in your life.
So I come to Los Angeles in 1987 to finish school at UCLA, my degree in political science. But really, I came to start my my career as an actor. I had to kind of placate the parents, finish college, but I was coming out here to pursue my career in acting. I was also studying martial arts, and the head of our school, Master Fumio Demura, also happened to be Pat Morita's stunt double in all the Karate Kid movies, and he knew that I was pursuing my career in acting, and he told me that there was going to be an audition for the new bad guy for the Karate Kid 3, and it was an open call, which means anybody who wants to can show up. And they described this character, Mike Barnes, as a 17-year-old Mike Tyson. And I have white Mike Tyson. And I never have thought of myself as a 17-year-old white Mike Tyson. But, you know, I had sort of a pretty natural sense that I was going to get this role. And I know that sounds really arrogant, you know, being this small town kid coming from Western Pennsylvania. But felt like this crazy sense of destiny. And I remember I was back in my little town of Newcastle, Pennsylvania, on a break from college, and I was sitting with a couple buddies out on a curb at this sort of, quickie mart gas station where we'd all go and, shoot the breeze and all that stuff. And I said, guys, there's this role. And I said, I'm going to get it. And they didn't laugh at me. They were like, yeah, man, go do it. And so I went to the open call. John Avildsen was there. He picked me out of the line of about 1,500, 2,000 people. I went inside. I screen tested with Ralph Macchio, thought that I did really well, and found out a few days later the crushing truth that I did not get the job. They hired someone else. But, fate had a pretty wild surprise in store for me. And about a week later, they fired the young man that they had hired, and they remembered me and called me back. And it's made a profound difference in the trajectory of my life.
Sean, did anyone ever tell you who the guy they fired was?
All I know is his name was Daryl. And I guess he was kind of like this surfer dude. And I guess he was a nice guy. And, he just, I don't know I don't think he was a professional actor maybe. And I guess from what I heard, he was kind of having trouble summoning up the menacing aspect of Mike Barnes.
You did not have any trouble with that. You're going on to history as one of the great bad guys.
The great menaces, right?
Yeah, great menaces. Yeah.
Me and Dennis.
Yeah, and William, your story is pretty similar.
Yeah, parallel paths. I almost missed the audition. I mean, I didn't even know about it. My buddy comes over and says, dude, we got to go down to Burbank. I'm like, why? He says, oh, they're doing an open call. And I'm like, what? And I look at it, they're looking for the villain for the next Karate Kid movie. So it's like, okay, let's go. And I just started kind of pursuing acting. I mean, I barely had any experience. I knew enough to get a headshot, a picture and a resume together. And I already had one. But, my thing was I had a lot of martial arts experience going in. I was already a black belt. So we get down there, and like Sean said, 1,500 people or so in line, and you just go, oh, man. But you get in line. John Avildsen comes out with his assistant director, Clifford Coleman. And they're going down the aisle. And it's pretty much, thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Thank you. And they're getting closer and closer. And I'm like going, oh, okay, well, here it goes. They stop. We lock eyes. John starts walking towards me, and my heart's just going like this. And he says, hi, what's your name and how old are you? And I said, I'm 22, sir. And he's like, you know what? You look a little old for what we're trying to do. We kind of need somebody who looks like they're still in high school. So I was disappointed, but I said, can I give him my picture and resume, sir? And he goes, oh, yeah, absolutely. And I thought that was it. A week later, I get a call from Carol Jones, his casting director, a very nice lady. She says, I haven't cast the part yet. Please come in and read. I went down and gave what I thought was a brilliant audition, and it was not, but she was very nice, and she said, that was very good. And you leave the office going, I knocked it out of the park. I know I got it. And you think back later on and you just go, man, did I suck, because I didn't have any craft whatsoever. I was playing him as like a nice guy, no.
You weren't menacing.
Yeah, it's like, no, I want your title, and like being all nice and everything like that. So time goes by. It's like, okay, I didn't get it. So right before they're supposed to start production, I get the phone call again from Carol. Says, hey, we've cast Mike Barnes, but we need some henchmen. And I'm like, I can hench. So go down there the next day. I'm at the studio. I meet Pat Johnson. He was the referee. He was the fight coordinator, student of Chuck Norris. He says,
he was an Enter the Dragon.
Yes.
It's Doe Roper. We got to break something.
Yeah, he's Doe Roper. We got to break something. So he says, you look fine to me, but it's up to John. We go into the studio. I see Ralph Macchio. He comes up to me. Hi, how you doing? I'm Ralph. And I'm like, yes, I know. And very nice to meet you, sir. And it's just so surreal. And then I see Sensei Demura. And of course, he's like, hey, what you doing here? And I had met him before through his tournaments. And, he'd always been kind to me and my mom. My mom is from Japan. So, we always had a connection with Sensei Demura. So I told him what was going on. Finally, John Avildsen shows up. They introduced me to him. He says again, what's your name? He says, how old are you? And I'm like, 22, sir. He kind of looks me over. You look young enough. Let's hire him. And Sensei Demura chimes in and he says, hey, John, no worry, this kid, he's okay. So John was like, good enough for Sensei, good enough for me. And then that's how it started. And I actually got a chance to work with this kid, Daryl, who was the first Mike Barnes. I met him.
You know what his last name was?
I do not, he's probably.
I always wonder what became of him.
I don't know. He's probably sitting out there somewhere going, that was could have been mine. Kanan. Ah! But yeah, nice kid. He was gone a week later. He was much like me where, he just didn't have much experience. But I didn't have the pressure, since I wasn't Mike Barnes, I didn't have all that pressure on me. I just had to kind of be the strong, silent, tough guy, which I could easily do and kick a lot and just take falls. The Mike Barnes role was the one that, carried all the weight. And then I met Sean, and Shauna and I have been really good friends ever since. So, as I have said, fate stepped in and the right guy got the role, and the rest is history.
Well, we're looking at a picture right here from the Karate Kid 3. And in the middle is Jonathan Avildsen, who's John Avildsen's son. I sent an email this morning. We're trying to locate him. I worked for a long time for a company called Troma, makers of the Toxic Avenger and other classics. And Lloyd Kaufman was also the production manager on the movie Rocky, and was very close with John Avildsen most of his life. So he has some lead, and we'll see if we can find Jonathan, because I don't think he's talked about Karate Kid 3 in quite some time. But anyway, so we're looking at you guys here. William, you're the henchman. Jonathan, you're henchman for the bad boy of karate, Mike Barnes. Everyone, I'm sure, who's watching this has seen the Karate Kid 3. And at this point, the question that I'm going to ask is the question that is coming, and it's the question that you're not going to answer, but I have to ask. So there's this thing called Cobra Kai out that all the kids are watching, and it's the biggest thing in the world. And it's the ultimate fan service to Karate Kid fans of all generations. Are we going to see either of you on that show?
Chris, go ahead and answer.
Anything can happen. We'll have to wait and see. Keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, and we'll see what happens. And the writers know what they're doing. The producers know what they're doing. If and when the time is right, then we'll see what happens.
Sean, do you know right now if you're going to be on the next scene of Cobra Kai?
Do I know? Well, of course I know. Yeah. It's either a yes or a no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, of course I know.
He knows, and you're going to have to wait and see. And
Absolutely.
You know what?
You got to keep watching.
Everybody asks these questions, and of course they're excited. But boy, the show is so much more fun when we don't know for sure. Right. Of course, we have the hunch, but when we saw Elizabeth Shue, we were all excited. It was fun to see her again, even though we kind of knew it was going to happen. Cobra Kai has really paid off, in my opinion, and I'll ask you guys. But for the fans, they've given everyone what they've wanted, I think, and I think that the fans would like to see you guys back. And obviously, the last episode of Cobra Kai hints that maybe someone like Mike Barnes could be back, which is great. And you guys obviously watch Cobra Kai, right?
Of course.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. I love the show. I binged it on New Year's Eve day, right? Just watched it straight through.
That's the way to do it. I did too. I feel like you don't want any spoilers and interruptions. You just watch it through. And for you guys, it's a little bit closer to home because you obviously have worked with a lot of these people. Sure. And then there's also the idea of I wonder if there's a segue to me coming up in here somewhere. But anyway, people love it.
Listen, the great thing about the big three, about Hayden John and Josh Eld, these guys are fans of the show. They want to work everybody from the original canon into Cobra Kai. They've said that many times. What I love about them is that they have such an amazing comedy background, having done Harold and Kumar and Hot Tub Time Machine. I'll never forget, I was watching Hot Tub Time Machine in the theater with some friends, and the guy in the movie says something like, "Hey, you look like the douchebag from Karate Kid 3." And suddenly all my friends just stared at me, and it was very embarrassing. But, I think part of the success of the show is that they've infused so much comedy. Johnny is like a walking anachronism, still stuck in the 80s in many ways. And I relate to that because, there's as a guy that's his age, there's a lot of times I find myself saying things and hearkening back to, the 80s that were, there was this great decade, the music, everything. And I really love that. And I think it's just amazing that we're now seeing these characters, Daniel and Johnny, as more fully evolved adults with a lot of challenges and flaws and foibles and things that make all of us human. And then you've got the whole storyline with the high school kids, and to straddle the fence of two different age groups and be successful is very tricky, and they've done it brilliantly. And now effectively what you have is guys our age who watch it for the nostalgic value because they grew up with it. And you got kids who'd never seen the original movies, fell in love with Cobra Kai, and then went back and discovered the original movies subsequent to watching the show.
Absolutely. They showed the original movie and they showed the first 2 episodes of Cobra Kai. I took a friend of mine who was younger, and they showed the episodes, and my friend's like, I can't believe I'm now hooked on this thing. And all of a sudden goes back and wants to see everything to do with the Karate Kid. Maybe not the next Karate Kid, but or maybe not the Will Smith one, but everything else they want. And it's so amazing that you guys get to share. You know what? You guys also, you guys are still young, handsome guys. You know what I mean? You two have not looked like you've aged one bit.
That's because we drink Miyagi blood.
That's gotta be it. I knew there was a secret to this, but you guys obviously are real martial artists. There've only been a few people on the first movie. Ron Thomas, who now is Pastor Bobby Brown, and Darryl Vidal were both martial artists. At the time of the first movie, it was sort of frowned upon to be a real martial artist. They really wanted actors, and it was different when you guys.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think I would have gotten the role if I didn't have a background in martial arts. I mean, I don't know how you take a guy that has no martial arts experience and in a very compressed amount of time, make him look remotely like he could possibly be a national martial arts champion. I mean, I at the time of filming was not a black belt. And so, there were certain things that I could do, and I could do them pretty well. And there were things that I couldn't do. I did do all of my own stunts, but they needed to work within the parameters of what my ability was. Sensei Ford and Sensei Thomas and Sensei Vidal, are all, phenomenal martial artists. And I was a guy that had studied martial arts seriously for several years, but not nearly in the same class as those guys. So I just, when you say that they frowned upon having martial artists, I just don't know how they would have found somebody short of some guy that was like, a parkour maniac or just a phenomenal freak athlete and taught them martial arts very quickly. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe they learned their lesson, because the guys trained a lot for that first movie. Yeah. Maybe they knew it would be a little easier to train someone. And your attitude. To have that attitude, having martial arts background helps. We talked about Cobra Kai. I think a lot of people would wonder where Mike Barnes is now in his life. Here's somebody who's probably a bully. And Sean, you work a lot with anti-bullying campaigns, right?
I do. I'm actually the young man's youth ambassador for Buddha Bullying, which is a 501c3. And I frequently go into elementary schools and high schools and facilitate a dialogue with kids about bullying. And, Jason, one of the most amazing byproducts of playing Mike Barnes that I never could have anticipated was that it serves as this amazing conduit to connect with kids. Because when I go and speak, I'll show the iconic scene that you're showing right now in this photo. And, you see Mike Barnes terrifying Daniel. And I said, would you believe that scary guy used to get bullied? And I recount how I was severely bullied as a young kid. I talk a lot about it in my book. And, it creates a little opening of the window. Because when you're talking to kids and you're an adult and there's that age difference, I think they have an inherent skepticism. And you really have to find a way to key into getting them to actually listen to you as opposed to, folding their arms and watching the clock.
Mhm.
And having played Mike Barnes gives me that entree, that sort of street cred with them, where they're willing to engage in a dialogue.
Yeah, and bullying is such a different thing now because now we have cyberbullying, and when we were kids, it was one thing. Now it's a whole nother thing to react to. It's not like you can take some martial arts and self defense with such a crazy place. So it's great that people like you talk to kids about that.
Yeah, suicide is the fourth leading cause of death among adolescents, and bullying is a major contributing factor to that. You're dealing with kids that don't have fully formed brains. It's just a biological fact. And so when they're overwhelmed with situations that they don't see an off ramp, unfortunately, some of them take a very permanent solution to a temporary problem, and it's heartbreaking. And for me, I'm impassioned by it. It's something that I would love to see eradicated. And I try and do whatever I can to talk about bullying, to not only educate kids and like I said, facilitate a dialogue, but also talk to parents, because you know uh, one of the issues is that so many kids see going to a parent or a teacher as being a rat. And I've really had to try and dissuade them from that mentality. And something I keyed into, I was doing an interview yesterday, and I don't know why it never came to me, but I said, a lot of kids that are bullies are actually getting physically abused at home. They're being bullied by someone else. And I said, in going to a parent or a teacher and telling them that you're being bullied, you may actually wind up helping the kid who's bullying you, because they may be able to uncover what the root problem of his you know, antisocial uh, and abusive behavior is, and maybe help him or her.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, and making people aware and letting people know that you've dealt with this and other people are dealing with it, that they're not alone, and hopefully that at some point this will be less of a problem than it is. I don't want to ask you guys all the Karate Kid questions because I want to make sure that people know on May 22nd they can come and meet you guys in person, and William will be moderating questions from the audience. And it's a limited thing. There's only 80 something spots left. The book Way of the Cobra will be there, and you can Sean will sign it for you, and then they also have a picture of the from the Karate Kid 3 that they'll both autograph. It's a fun
Yeah,
event.
it's going to be a great time. This is a chance for people to get to know us, personally, to ask whatever questions they have. Everyone's going to get a signed copy of my book, as well as a signed 8x10. And for those people that are not able to attend, we are finalizing plans to be able to have a simulcast, so people can purchase the opportunity at a discounted price to participate via the internet and still
That's
ask
great.
questions.
Yeah, that's great because I know a lot of people want to participate, and that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
We're looking at the book Way of the Cobra. Sean, this is not your first book. I believe this is your third book, right?
It is my third book, yes.
Yeah, and I enjoyed your second book because you talk about success and the success factor, and it's a great concept. You talk to 40 people, including yourself, who all give their different views of success, and some big hard hitters like Mark Cuban. Um, and I think that book kind of crosses into this book too, because I want people to understand um, this is not an autobiography necessarily. So you talk a little bit about your book.
Well, okay, the book actually has a lot of autobiographical components to it. It's set up with the structure that I'm a sensei. You were in my dojo, the dojo of life, of Cobra Life. Cobra is an acronym. It's formed from the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. The book is divided up into different chapters, which are belts. So you work your way through a black belt by the end of the book. And these are the strategies and the philosophies that I have used to make some profound, significant changes in my life that have got me through some rather daunting times, obstacles and challenges. And, I wrote this book at a time when I was looking in the mirror going, okay, you've had some pretty good success. You've had a couple of epic failures, some of which were rather well publicized. what's the next chapter here, buddy? And I was 35 pounds overweight. I had no prospects for acting work. And I was engaging with, some old demons that I thought I'd put to bed. And I realized I needed to start doing some things very differently, very quickly. And rather than, wait for my ship to come in, I decided I was going to build the damn ship. And these are the strategies I used to do it. And in that 1 year, I lost the 35 pounds. My second book, Success Factor X, became an Amazon new release bestseller. And I got my show, Studio City, that I've been trying to get made for years, on Amazon Prime. And we were nominated for 16 Emmys and we won 3. And I don't say that to impress anybody, but rather to impress upon you what is possible when you're willing to make some changes and to get clear with what it is that you really want to do. And that's what I teach you in the book. And the tagline for the book is Unleash Your Inner Badass. I believe everyone has one. And I know the information in the book is transformative. And if you can transform yourself, you can transform the world.
Yeah, I think that's a great message. And both of you guys have a great message just by telling your stories. You got online. That's the first thing. Most people don't take that first step. You did it. You got on the line. The line was long. You didn't, maybe you weren't going to make it. A lot of people didn't, but you did. And even William, with your case, you got that second call because you were there and you took that chance. And, you guys have both gone through in your careers. It hasn't stopped. William, you have your series on YouTube that people can watch, which is with the Masters of Martial Arts that you talk to. It's a great series. I've watched all as many as I can of the different people who've been on. You continue your teaching as well and acting. Sean, you've had a great career and still have a great career as an actor. And you're a soap star. That's a good thing to have. Sometimes people frown upon being a soap star. Well, if you're on General Hospital and you're on Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful, you're a soap star. And that's not a bad thing.
I'm currently on The Bold and Beautiful right now on CBS. It's the most syndicated show in the world. And you can also see me on the hit show Studio City, which I created, which is on Amazon Prime. The entire first season is there. And the second season will be coming out any day. It could happen tomorrow, the next day. Amazon has the show. They are doing their quality control, which usually takes about a week. And we have 6 brand new episodes, and I can't wait for everybody to watch them.
Yeah, and who knows, we might see you on another hit show, but you can't.
You never know.
You could say, William, tell me a little bit about what's going on with you.
I still have about 15 more episodes of 52 Masters, and I'm not going to change the title to 56 Masters, but I promise you I will get them done. We got a little sidetracked over the last couple of years, just because of what was happening in the world. Right. But I must finish, and people have been asking, so we've got that. And again, we're focusing on this event that's happening on May 22nd with Sean. I read his book and I was like, okay, how do I be of service to you and to the community? And I could really get behind a lot of what he writes about in the book. It really resonated with me, and I know it's going to resonate with a lot of other people. So, the event is, yes, you get a chance to meet Sean, you get a chance to meet me. That's, kind of the hook. But Sean's going to actually read from the book. There's some amazing lessons in there that I'm sure people are going to have a significant change that will happen that day if they show up and they get a chance to have him hear it in person. And it's a great chance for us to be able to meet the supporters and meet the fans. And that's our way of giving back as well.
Yeah. I know this is important.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say, I know this is important to you guys. And I know that this is, you can do conventions and do those type of things. This is more than that. This is a chance for people to get motivated. I guess it's great for the fan too, but really you might, like you just said, you may walk out with some motivation that we all could use.
Absolutely. I talk about this in my new book, the sequel to Way of the Cobra, which I'm working on right now. And so, I thought I got into acting years ago because I wanted to express myself. I wanted to have a voice because I love entertaining people. But in reality, I got into acting because I want to inspire people. And, for a long time, I thought acting was the conduit that I would use to do it. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that acting is not exclusively the conduit, and it's my sincerest hope that I'm able to do it with my writing and my speaking. And so I truly hope that people will come to this event. And I'm not just going to be reading out of the book. I'm also going to be giving a motivational speech, which is a kind of a synthesis of what the whole book is about. If you'd like to get tickets, we still have some remaining. You can get them on Eventbrite. Or you can DM me on Instagram at sean.kanan. We'll make sure you get hooked up, or you can DM Chris. And if you'd like to get a copy of Way of the Cobra, you can get it at wayofthecobra.com if you want a signed copy, or you can get it on Amazon or the ebook on Kindle.
Yeah, and we have links to all of this in the description.
Oh, thank you so much.
Right now, yeah, if you're watching right now, just go down and everything is there and you can get it. Sean, I want to ask you one last question, a Karate Kid question that I want to know, because I'm here in Las Vegas right now.
Okay.
And I know that you spent some time in Las Vegas after shooting the Karate Kid Part 3. You had a really serious injury. And it's almost unbelievable that you made it through the filming of that movie. And if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we had been filming for probably, I don't know, about 3 weeks. And I was starting to have some significant pain in my upper left thigh, which I attributed to all the karate that I was doing. And so I was taking a lot of aspirin, and we broke for the Christmas holiday. And long story short, I kept taking aspirin, and I was in the Dunes Casino on Christmas Eve, 1989, and I passed out. And the EMTs told my friend that I was with that I was dying, that I had lost a tremendous amount of blood. I was bleeding internally, and the blood was dripping down on my femoral artery, which was causing the pain in my leg. Aspirin, which is a blood thinner, was exacerbating the bleeding. And so they rushed me to Humana Sunrise Hospital, and they said, look, you're young and you're strong, but we're gonna do our best to save your life. And it was the most sobering, scary moment that has ever happened to me in my life. And I made it through the surgery, and woke up with a 15-inch, scar wound at that point with staples. And shortly thereafter, I got a phone call from John Avildsen, who basically informed me that I had about 10 days to get back to the set. Otherwise, they were going to recast, and I think they were going to recast Brandon Lee in my part. It was a true test of what I had inside, I guess. And I had myself discharged from the hospital against medical advice, and started rehabilitating myself with a guy who was a lineman for the Rams when the LA had the Rams back then. And long story short, I made it back into the film. I did all my own stunts, and to this day, that is why the film is so important to me. Yes, it's important because the films are known throughout the world, and it gave me my start. But for me, it really gave me a glimpse into my own mortality, and more importantly, it gave me a glimpse into my character, and showed me that at least in that moment, in that instance, when the going got tough, I was able to get back in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And when you watch that movie, knowing what you were, battling, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we were doing the final fight scene, and I mean, I don't even think that the wound was completely healed. But I was just determined. There was no way that I was gonna. I recognized what this opportunity was, and there was no way that I was gonna allow this to slip through my fingers after having worked so hard to get it. And so, I lied, I pretended, I did whatever I had to do to make sure they thought that I was okay. And I was lucky that I wore a black gi, because had I worn a white gi, I probably would have bled through it.
Being a bad guy came in handy, right?
No, I think being a good guy came in handy.
Yeah.
I honestly, what's funny is for a long time in my career, I played a lot of bad guys. And I think somewhere along the line for a while, I got kind of caught up in that. And I was misbranding myself, not as an actor, but as a person. And what I really kind of came to terms with the fact that, I was a good guy playing a bad guy. It seemed like a lot of things in my life kind of fell into place, and a lot of behavior that was either destructive or just wasn't empowering started to fall by the wayside.
Mhm.
And so I guess the moral of the story, as simple as it is be yourself.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good message, and it worked for you. So I want to point out again that on May 22nd, this is the flyer right here. All the information's in the description, so you don't have to search. We got it for you. If you want to hear about more about William, William, you were quiet today, just like your part in the movie. Ralph Macchio got him his big line though, and you'll find that's in my
He
interview.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so you can
remember
watch
that.
our first interview, and me and William also discuss our top 5 favorite martial arts movies, and it's a lot of fun. So you can check that out. And then any other questions you can ask in person, and hopefully they'll have this set up soon so that you can join from anywhere and watch it online. And you'll all be in the dojo for the afternoon. I thank you guys so much for coming by, and I wish you good luck with the event, and look forward to seeing you guys again as well.
Thank you so much. It was a real honor. I appreciate that you took the time and gave us this opportunity. And thanks to everybody who took the time to watch this. We hope we see you in Torrance at the event on the 22nd.
Sounds good. Can you tell me that my karate's a joke before I go?
Hey, Jason, your karate's a joke.
There you go. If you know, you guys know.
mercy.
All right. Yeah, and we got the head shake. Guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again.
Take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.